Most people will work for money their entire lives, without ever understanding the game that controls it. The rich don't survive because they earn more. They survive because they own more. And once you understand this, you stop chasing paychecks, and start building power. Most people wake up, work all day, come home exhausted, repeat the same cycle, and wonder why nothing in their life truly changes. Days turn into months, months turn into years, and dreams slowly get replaced by survival. From childhood, most people are taught how to follow instructions, not how to build freedom. They're trained to chase paychecks instead of ownership, to trade time for money instead of creating systems that multiply it. And without realizing it, they spend their entire lives working to maintain a system they never control. Because the truth is, the system was never designed to make everyone wealthy. It was designed to keep most people consuming, while a small percentage keeps owning. Own the businesses, own the assets, own the attention, and the people who understand this early play life by completely different rules. But once you realize this, everything changes. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You stop thinking only about income and start thinking about leverage, investments, skills, and ownership. Because real wealth is not built by working harder forever, it's built by learning how money, systems, and value truly work. Poor people focus on appearances. Rich people focus on assets. One spends money trying to look wealthy, the other quietly builds wealth behind the scenes. And while one is chasing validation from the world, the other is creating freedom for generations. Most people buy things that lose value the moment they purchase them. Expensive clothes to impress strangers. Luxury habits funded by debt. A lifestyle that looks successful online, but creates pressure, stress, and financial dependence in real life. Because looking rich and being rich are two completely different things. Meanwhile, wealthy people think differently. They buy things that produce value. Businesses, skills, investments, assets that grow while they sleep. They understand that every dollar should either make memories or make more money. And over time, those small decisions compound into massive advantages. That tiny difference changes entire bloodlines. One generation spends everything trying to appear successful, while another builds systems that create lasting wealth. And years later, the results become impossible to ignore. Because true wealth is not built through image, it's built through ownership, discipline, and long-term thinking. The rich don't work for money forever. They build systems that pay them repeatedly. While most people wake up every day forced to earn again from zero, wealthy people create income streams that continue long after the work is done. That's the difference between surviving with money and creating freedom with it. Most people are taught to trade time for money. Work more hours, take extra shifts, stay busy constantly, and while hard work matters, time will always have a limit. There are only so many hours in a day, and eventually exhaustion catches up. If income stops every time work stops, true freedom never begins. But wealthy people think beyond hourly effort. They focus on ownership, businesses, investments, digital products, real estate, systems that continue producing value whether they are present or not. Because they understand that ownership creates leverage, and leverage creates freedom. That's why one person stops earning the moment they stop working, while another keeps earning while sleeping. One depends entirely on active labor, the other builds assets that work around the clock. And over time, that difference becomes life-changing. Because wealth is not just about how much money you make, it's about how long your money can continue working without you. Wealth rarely happens instantly. It grows quietly. Most people expect success to appear overnight, but real wealth is usually built in silence, consistency, and patience. Long before anyone notices the results, the foundation is already being created behind the scenes. It's like planting a seed underground. At first, nothing seems to happen. No applause, no dramatic changes, no visible rewards, just discipline, repetition, and faith in the process. And because people don't see immediate results, many quit too early, never realizing growth was already happening beneath the surface. But eventually, compound growth becomes unstoppable. Small investments turn into large ones. Daily habits become life-changing skills. A single opportunity multiplies into many. And the things that once looked insignificant begin creating massive results over time. Because compounding is not about speed, it's about consistency repeated long enough. This is the formula that builds empires. The people who understand compounding eventually own the future. They know that every small decision matters. Every lesson learned matters. Every disciplined action matters. While others chase quick rewards, they focus on long-term multiplication. And years later, the difference becomes undeniable. Because the greatest wealth is often built slowly, until one day, it no longer looks slow at all. Most people destroy their future trying to look successful today. They spend money to create an image, not to create stability. A lifestyle built on pressure, debt, and constant validation. And while it may look impressive from the outside, behind the scenes, many are financially trapped. They finance lifestyles they can't truly afford just to impress people who don't really care. Expensive cars, designer labels, luxury habits, all funded by borrowed money and temporary attention. Because in a world obsessed with appearances, many people would rather look rich for a moment than build wealth for a lifetime. But real wealth is usually invisible. It doesn't always announce itself loudly. True wealth is ownership, investments, cash flow, assets quietly growing in the background. The wealthiest people often focus less on showing success and more on creating long-term freedom, peace, and security. Because rich people understand something most never learn, every dollar can either buy attention or buy freedom. One choice creates temporary applause. The other creates options, independence, and generational wealth. And over time, those daily financial decisions shape completely different futures. Because the goal is not to appear wealthy in front of strangers, it's to build a life where money no longer controls you. The real flex isn't designer clothes. It isn't luxury brands, expensive jewelry, or trying to impress strangers online. Because appearances can be borrowed, status can be temporary, and many people look successful while secretly struggling behind closed doors. Real success goes much deeper than what people can see. The real flex is freedom. Freedom to live life on your own terms. Freedom to make decisions without constantly worrying about money. Freedom to breathe without feeling trapped by bills, debt, or survival. Because true wealth is not about showing off, it's about gaining control over your life. Freedom is waking up without stress controlling your mind. Not immediately panicking about payments, pressure, or problems the moment your eyes open. It's having peace instead of constant anxiety. It's being able to enjoy life without carrying invisible financial fear every single day. That kind of peace is more valuable than anything money can buy for attention. Freedom is choosing your time, being able to spend moments with the people you love, being present for your children, taking care of your health, resting without guilt, because time is the one thing money can never replace once it is gone. And the people who truly understand wealth protect their time carefully. Freedom is helping your family without destroying yourself financially. It's being able to support the people who once supported you, providing opportunities, creating stability, breaking cycles of struggle that lasted for generations. Because real wealth is not only about personal success, it's about creating impact that outlives you. Freedom is living without fear. Not fear of losing everything overnight. Not fear of missing one paycheck. Not fear of pretending to be okay while silently drowning. True wealth removes panic and replaces it with options, confidence, and security. And that's why the greatest flex will never be what you wear. It's the peace, freedom, and stability you build behind the scenes. At the end of the day, the people who chase attention often stay trapped by it. But the people who chase freedom build lives that others secretly wish they had. Because real success is not about looking rich in public, it's about living in peace when nobody is watching. If you want to get rich and stay rich, stop chasing money. Because money alone is not the goal. People spend their entire lives running after paychecks, yet still remain financially trapped. The problem is not always how much money someone makes, it's how they think, what they build, and what they repeat consistently over time. Start building assets instead. Assets that grow in value. Assets that generate income. Assets that continue working even when you are resting. Because wealthy people understand that earned income can create temporary comfort, but ownership creates long-term freedom. The goal is not just to make money once, it's to build things that continue producing value for years. Start building systems. Systems for your finances. Systems for your business. Systems for your habits and productivity. Because success that depends only on motivation will eventually collapse. But systems create consistency, and consistency is what turns small actions into extraordinary results over time. The people who win financially are usually not the loudest people, they are the people who stay disciplined long enough for growth to compound. Start building discipline. Because discipline will take you places motivation never can. There will be days when you feel tired, days when results seem invisible, days when quitting feels easier than continuing. But the difference between people who build wealth and people who stay stuck is the ability to keep moving even when progress feels slow. Discipline is what protects your future from temporary emotions and distractions. Because wealth is not created in one lucky moment. It's not usually built overnight. It's built in the quiet decisions nobody applauds. The books you read, the money you save, the skills you develop, the habits you repeat daily. And while others search for shortcuts, wealthy people focus on long-term multiplication. Real wealth is created through decisions repeated for years. One investment after another, one disciplined habit after another, one smart decision after another. And eventually, those small choices begin creating a completely different life. Because success is rarely about one giant breakthrough, it's usually the result of ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. That's why the people who build lasting wealth think differently. They stop asking, how can I make quick money? And start asking, what can I build that will still create value years from now? Because getting rich may happen quickly for some people, but staying rich almost always comes down to mindset, discipline, and systems. Most people will watch this and continue the same cycle. A few will apply it and change their entire future. Which one are you? Subscribe for more strategies they never taught in school, because your future depends on what you learn next.